Ma'am, stop shouting. We checked the deed. You are currently trespassing on private property.
Trespassing? I am the HOA President. I own this water.
No, ma'am. According to the county records, he does.
She fined him $5,000. She tried to seize his fishing boat, but she made one fatal calculation. She didn't know that the water she was floating on belonged to the man she was trying to destroy. Welcome back to Voices of Freedom. Today we are taking the fight to the water. This is a story about riparian rights, old maps, and a floating fence that sank an HOA president's ego. Question of the day. Do you think HOAs have too much power over private property? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments below. And please hit that subscribe button. We are exposing these tyrants one story at a time. Let's dive in. Jack was a retired Navy Master Chief. He bought his lakeside cabin back in the 1980s, long before the lakeside luxury estates HOA was built around him. He wanted a quiet life. He just wanted to catch bass and drink his coffee. His boat wasn't pretty. It was a 1975 aluminum tracker. It smelled like diesel and fish. But to Jack, it was freedom. Then came Patricia, the self-appointed Admiral of the new HOA. She bought the biggest house on the lake. She bought a $100,000 white pontoon boat with leather seats. She wanted the lake to look like a magazine cover. No weeds, no noise, and definitely no ugly, rusty fishing boats. The first time they met, Patricia didn't wave. Drove her boat right up to Jack's fishing spot. The wake from her engine nearly tipped Jack over. Patricia, "Hey you! Move that junk heap. We are taking photos for the HOA brochure. You're ruining the view." Jack just tipped his cap. "Lake's big enough for both of us, Mom." That was the wrong answer. The next day, the letters started coming. Violation 1, unleaded fuel usage. Violation 2, non-approved vessel color. Violation 3, fishing in a swimming zone. Total fines, $500. Jack was confused. He wasn't part of the HOA, but Patricia claimed the HOA controlled the waterways and anyone on the water had to follow their rules. Things got ugly when Jack refused to pay. Patricia showed up on his dock with a private security guard. "Patricia, listen to me, old man. If you don't pay these fines and paint your boat white, we will seize it. We have the right to impound non-compliant vessels on HOA water." Jack stood up. "HOA water? Since when does the HOA own the lake?" Patricia laughed. "Read the bylaws. We own everything." Jack knew something wasn't right. He remembered his grandfather telling him stories about this land. He drove to the county courthouse. He went to the basement archives. He wasn't looking for HOA rules. He was looking for the original deed from 1925. After 4 hours, he found it. The Grand Deed. It turns out the lake wasn't a public waterway. It was a man-made reservoir created by Jack's grandfather's company. When the developer bought the land for the HOA, they only bought the shoreline. They never bought the lake bed. Jack took the deed to a property lawyer. The lawyer studied it for 10 minutes. Then he looked up and smiled. "Lawyer, Jack, do you realize what this means? You don't just own the water rights, you own the dirt under the water. Technically, their docks are illegally anchored on your land." Jack smiled. "So I can enforce my own rules?" The lawyer nodded. "Absolutely." Patricia was planning her annual summer regatta party for Saturday. She invited the mayor, the city council, everyone. She was going to show off her lake. Jack decided to help her prepare. He went to the marine supply store. He bought 500 feet of heavy-duty floating rope, 20 large orange buoys, and signs that said, "Private property, no trespassing." Friday night, 2 a.m. While the neighborhood slept, Jack and his son took the boat out. They drilled anchors into the lake bed. They strung the floating barrier right across the middle of the lake. cutting off the HOA mansions from the main water. 2 a.m. While the neighborhood slept, Jack and his son took the boat out. They drilled anchors into the lake bed. They strung the floating barrier right across the middle of the lake, cutting off the HOA mansions from the main water. It was a literal wall on the water. The sun came up. The lake looked different. A bright orange line cut through the blue water. And hanging from the rope were signs. Private lake. Access denied. Toll. $5,000. Jack sat on his porch drinking coffee, waiting for the fireworks. 10 a.m. Patricia launched her massive party boat. She had 20 guests on board. Champagne was popping. Music was blasting. She headed for the center of the lake. She was too busy talking to notice the orange boys until it was too late. The captain of her boat slammed on the brakes, reverse. The boat rocked violently. Champagne glasses shattered. Patricia, what is this? Who put trash in my lake? She ran to the bow. She saw the sign, private property. That's when Jack motored out in his rusty fishing boat. He picked up a megaphone. Jack, megaphone. Attention vessel, you are trespassing on private water. Turn around or be towed. Patricia turned purple. Jack, I will sue you into the ground. Cut this rope immediately. Patricia made the mistake Jack was hoping for. She called the sheriff's marine unit. Officer, a madman has blocked the lake. I want him arrested. Jack waited. He had his paperwork ready in a waterproof bag. The sheriff's boat arrived. The deputies boarded Patricia's boat first. She was screaming, demanding Jack be handcuffed. The sergeant motored over to Jack. Sir, you can't block a public waterway. Jack handed him the deed. It ain't public, Sergeant, it's a private reservoir, and they are trespassing. The sergeant radioed dispatch. They confirmed the plot lines. He shook his head and went back to Patricia. Officer, ma'am, he's right. You don't have water rights. Your HOA only owns the dirt up to the water line. If you cross this buoy, you're trespassing. Patricia gasped. But, my party, my guests. The officer pointed to the shore. Take it back to the dock, ma'am, or I'll have to cite you. The Admiral had to turn her boat around in front of the mayor and all her friends. It was the quietest ride back to the dock in history. The HOA had to negotiate with Jack. They now pay him a monthly lease fee to use the lake. And Jack? He still fishes in his rusty boat, and nobody, absolutely nobody, tells him to move. If you enjoyed this watery revenge, smash that like button, subscribe for more justice. This is Voices of Freedom, signing off.